And welcome to the Citizen Report. I'm John DeShannon, and thank you for joining me today. As always, this newscast is real in-depth American. Thank you so much for joining me. It's always good to be back with you. Got some updates to some stories I covered previously here on the Citizen Report. At the end of this show, I do have a special announcement to make, so please be sure to stay tuned for that. It's not too important, but obviously important enough to bring to you at the end of the show. But for right now, I want to update you regarding the migrant children. Of course, if we're going to be politically correct, that's the term. But really, the truth is they're illegals. They're illegal. And I wanted to bring to you an update to that. This is, for some reason, seemingly, it seems to be focused much in this case, much on Tennessee, because we had that story I brought to you last time about Chattanooga, where children were being flown in the middle of the night and then bussed out to other points around the region. It appears that they're being bussed out of the state, but now we're getting reports, and this is from WVLT, the CBS affiliate in Knoxville, where the illegal, I should say, children are apparently now being flown to Knoxville. So this is the headline from WVLT. It reads, "Flight reportedly carrying migrant children lands in Knoxville." WVLT is following reports of alleged migrant children coming to Tennessee and being transported to other states in the Southeast. So this is what they say as well. They say flight records show the plane originated in Long Beach, California, and landed at McGee Tyson Airport at the TAC Air Terminal just after 11:15 p.m. According to reports from CBS affiliate KCAL, hundreds of children found at the border were being held in a convention center in Long Beach, California. Now, they show here what appears to be a flight path going from the Long Beach Airport, Daugherty Field, to McGee Tyson Airport, which is the airport for the Knoxville area. So this was back on the 27th, only that's not long ago. And you can see they departed at 4:28 p.m. Pacific time, but they arrived in Knoxville at 11:18 p.m. Eastern time. And of course, you got to account for the fact that as you're going east, you're jumping 3 hours ahead if you're going to Eastern time zone from Pacific. So again, we have, it seems to be a recurring theme that these flights are landing at night. So it's a very interesting thing, and it makes one wonder if they're trying to conceal what they're up to. Now, this is also what they're saying from WVLT. It says, WVLT captured video of people loading onto two different buses at TAC Air. The video appeared to show primarily preteen and teenage children. WVLT News blurred the faces of the individuals to protect the identities of anyone on the plane. Oh, of course, we don't want to know who the illegals are. And of course, I get it. They're under 18, so they're not actually adults. But still, it's kind of ridiculous that you're a criminal and yet you get to hide your identity. Yeah. So further down here, it says WVLT followed one of the buses along Interstate 75 as it crossed over the Kentucky border. The other bus traveled south on Alcoa Highway. And I know personally Alcoa Highway, at least as I know it, is US Highway 129. If you follow that road, it eventually takes you, or I should say, the 129 designation, it will eventually take you all the way down into Georgia, Gainesville, Georgia, and points beyond that. So let's see. It says WVLT has made several phone calls in an attempt to gain more information into the situation. When contacted by phone, the Malone the Malone Bus Company based in Cleveland, Tennessee, hung up when asked questions about why its buses were being used. Now calls to the company are sent straight to voicemail. The Malone Bus Company was the same company that was hired to transport migrants last week from Chattanooga. So there again, we got another commonality going on here. So we have a commonality where they're bringing children in the middle of the night. And I know after 11 o'clock, that's still not super late. I mean, from my personal schedule, 11 o'clock is actually not that late at all. But my point being is that they're still bringing them past dark, and they're using the same company. Apparently, it also reads down here. Let me continue here. A McGee Tyson Airport spokesperson said they did not have any information because because the plane landed at TAC Air. TAC Air is a fixed-based operator that works with private aircraft. WVLT also spoke with the airline, who said its policy is not to comment. Governor Lee, and that's the governor of Tennessee, I'll add, Governor Lee's press secretary, Casey Black, said the governor was not made aware of the flight, nor was anyone on their team. Quote, "We have made numerous requests for information and transparency from the Biden administration since March, and they have not responded to those requests. Everything we have learned has come from news reports like yours," unquote, the governor's office stated. Governor Bill Lee made the following statement in response to reports made earlier this week, quote, "When we demanded answers, they cut off transparency and emboldened one of the worst human trafficking crises we've seen at our border in the last 20 years. I commend Senator Hagerty and Senator Blackburn for calling this out. Tennesseans deserve to know what is coming into our state," unquote. Governor Lee said Tennessee declined, quote, "the Biden administration's request to house unaccompanied minors and called on the administration to secure the border and stop scattering children across the country," unquote. WVLT has reached out to the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, and the U.S. Department of Defense. None of the agencies have responded. So this is ridiculous. So now we have Chattanooga, now we have Knoxville. And keep in mind, Tennessee is a very patriotic state. It's a very conservative state. So, why are they bringing them in there? Now they say, they might say, well, it's a centralized location. Well, why not bring, and I'm not encouraging this, but I'm saying, if you like, for example, Charlotte Douglas International Airport over in Charlotte, for instance, is a passenger hub for American Airlines. You've got Atlanta, that's a passenger hub for Delta. Historically, maybe not currently, but historically, Cincinnati was a passenger hub. I don't know if they still are, if they've ceased being that or not. Memphis, historically, also a passenger hub, and that of course is in Tennessee. Think about this. They bringing them into one of the most conservative areas of the country. East Tennessee is probably one of the most conservative regions in the whole country. Okay. If you have the Chinese invading East Tennessee, I'm telling you right now, they're not going to make it very far because there's so many people with guns there. That's what I'm saying. They're trying to bring them into all these areas, and supposedly, yes, they bust the unaccompanied, or more accurately, illegal children, I guess, to Kentucky, but it's still a very big red flag that they would bus them at all to Tennessee to begin with. They should be sent right back to their home countries, or where I guess the country that they came from, most likely Mexico, the country that they entered the US from, obviously. So this is ridiculous. And we'll just have to wait and see what happens, because this just proves to you again, there's just pure lawlessness going on with the border. There is absolutely no border security taking place here from Biden. And of course, my editorial policy here on the Citizen Report is not to deliberately refer to him as president unless I'm using a quote. So, you can figure that one out. But I want to switch gears now. Now, some of y'all may be aware of this. This is Greg Locke is a pastor in Tennessee, and he's being attacked right now by CNN. They put out a hit piece on him, on his church, and I think he responded to it very well. I'm not gonna even give CNN the airtime. I'm not going to even bother playing it. I'm just going to play, or not play, but read to you the quote from Greg Locke. Pastor Greg Locke from Facebook. He commented on one of CNN's posts, where they did a hit piece on him. They shared a hit piece on Greg Locke. So and this is what Greg Locke says: "I look forward to a public apology to the real family and our church for straight up lies. The widow is devastated over the absolute deception and falsehood in this story. Your nonsense doesn't scare me. I will not stop telling the truth. I assure you that she is suing. Mark my words, CNN, and this trashy Jezebel reporter will have to retract fake news. So that's Greg Locke. So I think he hit it right on the mark. He called the reporter Jezebel. And I think he's absolutely right. I don't care what people think. I think that's absolutely true, that CNN is basically a manifestation of the spirit of Jezebel. I'll take it one step further. I'll just say pretty much the mainstream media, you can mark them as the spirit of Jezebel. If you read about Jezebel in the Bible, she was a mean, wicked woman. Okay. And I think that that's perfect description of the mainstream media, because they are not of God. The mainstream media is not of God. Okay. And I hope that I truly believe that Greg Locke will come out on top of this. I think that that the more they attack God's anointed, the more they attack God's elect, the more they attack Christians, and the more they attack the more they attack people like Greg Locke, the worse it's going to get for the mainstream media. It just is, because it's not going to end well for the mainstream media, because you're coming against God at that point. I'm just saying. And let me tell you something, CNN's ratings are through the floor. I think CNN is digging themselves a deeper hole in the long run. You remember what happened with, I think his name was Nick Sandman, where they had this, I guess a Native American. I hope I'm saying that right. I think that's what his ethnicity was. Anyways, he goes over to him, banging on his drum, and Nick Sandman just stands there with a, pretty blank face like that. And CNN absolutely tried to trash the guy. He sued and won the lawsuit. I don't know if he sued personally, but regardless, the lawsuit concerning him against CNN, regardless of who filed it, if it was him or somebody else, I don't know, he won it. So I'm telling you, it's going to get a lot worse for CNN as time goes on. And the more that CNN does this, the more people are going to wake up. So let me shift gears again. I'm keeping this show going along here. This is from Blaze Media. Now, think back to everything I've been telling you for the last year or year and a half about the event, we'll say, the Big C event. This is a headline, and I'm not gonna read the word when I get to it, okay? It says, quote, Facebook reverses course, allows users to claim C was man-made as lab leak theory gains ground. So now we're seeing Facebook where they're saying, they used to say you cannot post certain information about the C. Now they say regarding this about, the theory of it being man-made, it's now being allowed. They're basically allowing it now. So now I want to stop right there and say something. And I'm curious if other people watching this have had the same experience. I've been posting things about the C, and really about other things too. It's not just that. And also, of course, my podcast. I've been posting either a link for it or the actual video, depending on which episode is concerned, on Facebook. And I get little or no reaction to it. So I wonder how much shadow banning is going on. I do believe that they're doing some of that to me. I can't prove it, but that's just a theory. And I'm curious to see what other people are dealing with, or if they're dealing with that too, because it can be quite discouraging when you're posting stuff and you think, well, nobody wants to see what I post and nobody cares about me. That's exactly the mentality they want you to think. So let me know if you've been having that experience too, because I do think I'm got good company in that sense. So there's that. Now a couple more things, or a few more things. This is a meme concerning child sacrifice. I think it hits it right on the nail. And I'm kind of rapid firing this today. But look at this meme for a second. If you're just listening, I want you to come look at this for a second. I know there's some I know some people, they may prefer listening over watching, but just look at this for a second at least. It shows a meme comparing then and now child sacrifice. You've got, what is it, an Aztec or Mayan pyramid or whatever you call that thing of the past, you know, all the barbaric stuff of child sacrifice they did. Now it's Planned Parenthood. So I know I switched gears rather quickly, but I think this is perfectly accurate, perfectly accurate, because Planned Parenthood, they literally sacrifice. They're aiding and abetting and they are partaking in the child sacrifice to Moloch. Okay, you got to understand, abortion, every time you do it, is a blood sacrifice. It just is. And so it's not a reproductive health like some people want to say. It's literally murder and blood sacrifice of children in the womb. So now a couple more things news wise. This is from Project Veritas. It says that now they've been doing some exposés on Facebook lately. That's the immediate context of this. Now it says Project Veritas released a new video today breaking the news on Facebook insider Morgan Commons' termination from his job after he leaked internal V hesitancy. You'll have to look to see what I omitted there because I'm the algorithms. After he leaked internal V hesitancy documents to the public. Here are some of the highlights from today's video. I'm not going to play the video. You can go look this up, but I'll read to you the pointers that they put here. Facebook data technician Morgan Common was informed by his employer via Zoom call that his services were no longer needed after he came to Project Veritas and blew the whistle on Facebook's corruption. Project Veritas founder and CEO James O'Keefe crashed Common's Zoom meeting and demanded answers from Common's employers as to why he was being fired for telling the truth to the public. The Zoom call came to an end soon after. Common originally reached out to Project Veritas because he felt compelled to expose Facebook's decision to hide their censorship plans from users. So this is a very interesting situation here. And by the way, it looks like that Common, it looks like he's doing some kind of crowdfunding on Give, Send, Go, which is a Christian crowdfunding website, according to Project Veritas. So in the last 24 hours since this email was sent, and this was sent on the 28th, in the last 24 hours up to that point, he had raised over $300,000, and his goal is $500,000. Hopefully he's reached that by now, but if you feel led to, go check that out. Okay. Now, I'm just bringing that up in case anybody out there happens to be interested in helping him out. So we have brave people that are literally sacrificing their livelihoods to expose the truth. So, and I think that as time goes on, just as it will for the mainstream media, namely CNN and others, of course, you're going to see things get a lot worse for the big tech, a lot worse for big tech, as it should. Now, here's another thing. This is from Brighteon. You might know Brighteon, Mike Adams. This is what the headline is, and I got this in an email on the 29th. So yesterday, very early yesterday morning, I was sent this. Alert, deep state planning false flag attack in order to blame anti-V and gun owners. It says, quote, I have received a direct warning that the deep state is planning a massive false flag event that will produce many casualties and be blamed on anti-V and gun owners. The event will be used to confiscate firearms nationwide and criminalize all anti-V speech online. We need to get the word out about this nefarious plot in order to help stop it. The more people know this is being planned, the harder it is for the deep state to carry it out. So this is very interesting development, to say the least. And as time goes on, I do believe the deep state is getting more desperate. They're panicking because they know that people are waking up. And I know there's a lot of people out there. I get it. There's a lot of people out there that are completely brainwashed. They will never feel safe unless they have this. Many of them have gotten it. I have not gotten it. I will not get it. And I will become an outcast in society before I get it, I guess. I mean, I hope it doesn't come to that, but I'm just saying, I've got some friends that, who knows? If all goes down the tube, I guess, it's like everybody. I would tell this to anybody. You better start networking now. If you don't have friends, if you don't have people that are awake, you need to try to network as fast as possible, because I'm telling you, the deep state's going to try to do something. I do believe in the end, the Patriots, they're allowing all this to happen right now. We're seeing developments in Arizona. I think in Georgia too, there's also been some developments, and we'll have to wait and see how that plays out. But I think that right now we're being allowed to see the true hand of the deep state. They're shocking people awake, and hopefully, as time goes on, more people will wake up. And I hope there's been word about the month of August. I don't know if that's true regarding Trump. I don't know if that's true. I'm not one that's just going to immediately jump on that and say, oh yeah, that's going to happen. I don't know. And what happens if August comes and nothing happens? Well, what I'll say to that is, whether Trump comes back in before, I should say, if he comes back sooner than later, whether he does or doesn't, we have to trust God. And none of us are perfect, but we have to trust God and let him be in charge. Let him sort this out. And let's hope that Trump is back in. But I'm going to say this, that I think that I better be careful what I say here because of the algorithms. But the C, I believe, was an attack against this country to take away our rights. Has it succeeded in the short term? Yeah, it did, because people went along with shutdowns and all sorts of garden variety of mandates. In the long run, I think that the history has yet to be written on that, because there's a lot of people pushing back against the mandates at this point. And I hope that people are reaching that precipice where they're pushing back and they're saying no more. But we have to just trust God, and we have to know that he's faithful. He does not abandon us. He does not leave us. He does not forsake us. And at the end of the day, we're going to pull through this. I do believe that those of us that are Christians, God will provide. God will make a way. Anyways, but I would just say trust God and let him handle it. I think that a lot of people are waking up right now, and I do believe that as for America as a country, as for us as a country, I do believe that the deep state's on the run. They're panicking like there's no tomorrow, and I do believe that before all is said and done, that justice will be served. So we'll just have to, but above all else, trust God. Do not trust man, trust God. Because let me tell you something. Let me tell you one other thing. The only way this country is going to truly heal and what's the word? Truly get better is this country turning to Jesus or back to Jesus, because his ways are perfect, and only through God are we going to find true healing for this country. So on that note, before I wrap up, I said that at the beginning of the show, I had a important, or kind of sort of semi-important, I suppose, if you want to call it that, announcement. So I've been thinking about this today, and I have decided to kind of scale back temporarily my production of the Citizen Report. I've decided for the moment to delay, or I should say, scale back my production of the Citizen Report to June 14th. At this moment, I still intend to produce a show once in a while, but it won't be strictly I try to produce one once a week. Sometimes I don't keep to that perfectly, but I like to try to do one a week at least, sometimes more, sometimes less. But right now, until June 14th, I'm going to be trying to take a little bit of a break. I'm not going to really get into it very much here because it is a private matter. It is my private life. But those of you who know me know that my dad passed back in February. And I've been having a lot of hard knocks before that point and also since that point. And I'm frankly very worn down right now, and I'm actually depressed. So, and I've been battling depression for a while now. Now, let me just say something. I am not going to give up. I am not going to give up under any circumstances. It's not going to happen. But I have gotten kind of worn down. And at this point, I am going to take something of a break, not a full break. I will still be here for breaking news, but you just may not see me as often for the next couple weeks or so, give or take. So until about June 14th, I think that would be a pretty sweet spot. I thought about doing a little longer than that, but for now, let's just say June 14th. Just please keep me in your prayers because I've been really having a rough time with my depression. And I will come through this. God is my God, and I declare right now, God is my strength, and I will come through this. But depression is not a trivial thing. It is a very real thing. And it's hard. My heart goes out to anybody else that's battling depression because I totally understand it because I deal with it too. But by the grace of God, I will be okay. And just please, like I said, keep me in your prayers, and I really do appreciate that. So I'm blessed that before my dad died, that I truly believe, and I was thinking about this last night, that God really did put together something of a support system for me, if you will. And since then, God has moved powerfully in my life. But nonetheless, I do get worn down. I do get depressed. I do get sad. And it's not just about my dad passing. It's about a lot, just a lot of different things. But I will be okay. And just please keep me in your prayers because I'm really been, and I'm not, again, it's not a trivial thing. It's a very real thing when I say I'm depressed, but I will be okay. By the grace of God, I will come through this. And by the time I resume the Citizen Report on a more regular basis, when I get back up to 100% doing it, I hope I hit on all cylinders going forward with the Citizen Report by God's grace. And hopefully this show will see much improvement after that because, we are working on some changes here. So on the Citizen Report. So thank you for watching, as always, the Citizen Report. I just want to say briefly that the social media platform stinger.live is down right now. I don't know. In fact, before I sign off, I'm just going to check in real time just to make absolutely sure that that is still the case. But it appears, at least right now, to be that. Right now, it does look like Stinger is still offline. I don't know what's going on. I hope I can maybe reach out to somebody that is behind the website, the platform, and figure out what in the world is going on with that. It reminds me a little bit of Parler, because if you remember with Parler, they basically brought down the website by proxy. And I don't have enough information at this point, but it would not surprise me if something similar happened to Stinger. Let's hope that didn't happen. Let's hope it's just a temporary outage, but it's been going on now for a number of days. I think since at least Wednesday, I believe. So anyways, God bless each and every one of you, and keep me in your prayers. I'm blessed to have people, a couple of dear friends in my life that have really been there for me. And when I've been really knocked down hard, I'm kind of still down now, but I'm pulling through it. But please keep me in your prayers. And the Citizen Report will be back in full operation very, very soon. I will still be here, of course, like I said, for breaking news, and I'll probably produce one here or there until my break is over. Right now, let's say June 14th. Okay. So God bless each and every one of you. And I appreciate each and every one of you, and keep me in your prayers. And I will see you right back here again next time. Have a good night, everyone.